We Make Movies Film Geeks podcast, episode number 69.
Welcome to the We Make Movies podcast, making the world a better place, one film at a time. And now, here are your hosts, two aspiring filmmakers, or as they're otherwise known, waiters. Garrett
inaccurate.
And Chad.
Inaccurate.
Guys.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the We Make Movies Film Geeks podcast, the podcast that's all about how to get your movie made, how to get it seen by other people, and how to get it awesome. I'm your host, Garrett Robinson, with an incorrect intro this week, which is kind of on par with what you've come to expect from this show over the last 69 episodes. With me, as always, faithful co-hosts Chad Kukihiko and Michelle Lucadou. We are all independent filmmakers and members of the We Make Movies filmmaking community in Los Angeles. Anybody who's watching on YouTube will have noticed that I rearranged my office again. When I rearranged my office, I forgot to plug in my new iPad. My old iPad, which has the correct intro on it, and so I have my new iPad with the wrong old intro. It will be fixed by next week, I swear. I apologize strongly to all of you. Hi, guys. How's it going?
Your voice is sounding very, very husky this morning.
I know, right?
I literally
was telling the guys before the show started, I went to bed about 3 hours ago and woke up about half an hour ago. It's been one of those weeks. So, hi, everyone. How's it going?
Hi.
Everybody's husky today.
I know.
Love
Well,
it.
we begin as always with community news, and we always like to start off by reminding you, please, if you are a listener to the show, whether you watch us on YouTube or you listen to us on iTunes, please pop into iTunes and give us a rating and a review for the show. It very much helps us get discovered and seen by other people, and then they can watch live, and you can all comment at each other in the comments and talk about what a douchebag I am and how awesome Chad and Michelle are. And next in community news, this Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. at the Theater Asylum in Hollywood is Improv, correct?
Yes, and it's the last workshop of the year.
The very last We Make Movies of 2014.
We always take the last few weeks of December off, and so that's what we're doing again. So this week, Wednesday, last workshop of the year,
Yes.
2014.
Now, finally, we have a pretty big announcement for community news, which is going to take a little bit longer than normal. Because you're going to explain it in the later.
I'm going to explain it in the main. I actually made a comment, which you're not reading there, but I'm going to cover it.
Got it. Yes, I see that now.
In my main topic, but just to tease it a teeny tiny bit, we made basically a super fundamental shift. We've been talking about it for a while now. We've been telling you guys about it. And if you were at the workshop, you saw the whole sort of presentation. There's a whole website. You could actually go right now if you want to check it out, patreon.com/WeMakeMovies. There's also a pretty in-depth frequently asked questions page on our website. But other than that, I'm going to get into a lot of that during my main. That's going to be my main topic. So
I am such a damn professional. Okay, awesome. So this is super exciting, though. We're going to talk about it in the main topic. It's going to be awesome.
Yes.
But failing that, we're going to get into general news. And Michelle, you are up first.
Me. Okay, so if you know me at all, you know I'm a musical theater geek as well as a film geek. So Peter Pan Live happened on NBC, and it was adorable, and it was so cute. It didn't get the ratings that they thought it would get. It didn't get the ratings of Sound of Music, which happened earlier, but what it did do was apparently on all the blog sites create what everyone is calling a new star, which happens to be a friend of mine. Christian Borle apparently is everybody's up and they're like, he's the shit, man. He played Smee and Mr. Darling, which are the roles that usually aren't doubled up, but yeah, anyway, he was my Bert and Mary Poppins, so he's apparently getting a lot of heat from it. That's what they call it in LA, heat. When you're
Nice.
famous and stuff.
Which is different from getting heat for his performance. He's generating heat. He's got energy going. It's a good thing.
Yes.
Heat like Buzz.
Yeah,
Not
exactly.
heat like.
He got
suspect
buzzed?
in
He
a
was drunk
crime.
during the performance? Is he Johnny Depp Part 2?
Oh my God, that was so amazing.
I think Depp was far beyond Buzz, by the way. Pretty far beyond Buzz.
Oh, quit messing with him, man. I mean, come on.
No, I'm sure he was fantastic. Little known fun fact. I don't know if I've ever told you guys this before. Did you know that I was in my high school's performance of Peter Pan?
Did not know that.
And I played Mr. Darling and Captain Hook.
No.
Wow. Yep, the roles that are normally doubled up. That's why I actually knew what Michelle was talking about, and I'm just like, ha-ha! Yeah.
I'm thinking that we might need to see some pictures, maybe some photo evidence of that.
We got some pictures happening. That's
I like it. Well, anyway, I just think the whole like musicals on TV thing is awesome. I think it's great and it's new and it's exciting. I think it's like creating the newer version of like the classic movie musical, like the Busby Berkeley kind of things. I think it's awesome. And apparently NBC, this is not a musical, NBC is talking about doing a TV version of A Few Good Men next. So that's pretty
cool. Yeah. All right.
Not a musical, but exciting.
I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
What?
Well, Chad, you can't keep your mouth shut because you're next on General News. So why don't you tell us what's going on?
Well, I'm going to move on to the next topic.
I played off of what you had just said. That was a very good.
You did.
Boy, people say I can't do it.
You.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on, so that I don't say something that pisses anybody off. CBS and Dish, little known fact, apparently had like the quickest, tiniest little tiff this weekend. Friday night, 7 p.m., CBS yanked all 27 of the different channels that they've been giving to Dish, and that includes like Showtime, by the way, Showtime channels, at 7 p.m. Eastern on Friday. They pulled them by Saturday morning. They had worked it all out, and they started streaming again. It wasn't completely out of nowhere. They've actually been in talks for weeks and weeks. And in fact, last month they had to do like 2 short-term extensions. But they finally, I guess Dish was probably thinking that CBS was bluffing. CBS was not bluffing, and they cut the channel. They cut them off entirely. And so overnight, they came to terms. And apparently, the deal that they've come to will actually last them many years. It's a multi-year deal, and unless one of them starts to violate it, it should be fine. Should be covered for a while. They shouldn't be in a situation like this again. But it just goes to show how crazy and weird the content world is getting. And if you watch this show at all, obviously you know that that's what I talk about a lot. I'm very fascinated with it, and I'm particularly, in fact, we've had meetings. Quick little side note before we move on. Sam and I are basically really pushing to find these programs. If you have a series that you already have a pilot for, or you have the idea for a pilot, finish it and submit it to our workshop so that we can check it out. And if it's something that we think is commercial or that we can find, and by commercial, by the way, we don't necessarily mean like, you could take it to a network, because network days are, I'm sorry, they're slowly winding to a close. The future is we make movies. Lean and Mean in 2015. You know what I'm saying? So, and other small production companies like us. But anyway, we can move on. But
I just want to say I fucking hate it when cable or satellite and networks, or even cable, get all like, when AMC has a fight with Time Warner Cable, and it's like, and then they start putting out the radio ads. Time Warner Cable has blocked your favorite AMC shows. Email Time Warner Cable. It's like, no, fuck you. You email Time Warner Cable. Give me my goddamn show, you son of a bitch. Like, I'm paying for your anyway.
But this kind of thing is going to happen
more. Guys, language.
The cable is going to, like, the cable wars are going to get worse before they get better.
Yeah, because they're going to start losing money and be like, you need to give us more. No, you need to.
Solution is cut your cable now, so you don't give a fuck about anything.
That's my solution. That's what I did.
That's the solution.
All right, I got to talk about the Star Wars trailer, and yeah, we're a little behind the times because we missed an episode last week. Oh, which we didn't even mention at the top of the show. It was Thanksgiving. We didn't. We you know, it was a thing. But Star Wars trailer, little bit of a big deal on the internet. Surprisingly, I don't know why anybody would feel extremely passionately about the most important 90 seconds of video that have ever been created. But for only 90 seconds,
there are like people who have died who are probably rolling over in their graves right now.
Yeah, I know. Actually, you know, in light of a lot of things that have happened.
I know recently.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe that was a bad thing to say.
Cinematic.
I do apologize for that. Yeah.
Cinematic.
Entertainment video.
Video.
So it did manage to pack a lot into 90 seconds, and there were there were a few things that everybody talked about, and a few things that very few people talked about. One thing most people don't realize is that the narrator for the trailer, you know that voice. You guys have seen the trailer?
Yes.
Okay.
In fact, I haven't.
Oh, Michelle, I'll show it to you after. It's fine. It's so.
And then you'll
so
show her the
amazing.
trailer.
Yes.
There's a dirty joke in there somewhere.
I think it's right there. I don't think it's in there. Yeah. But the voice for the trailer, people were like, "Who is that? Is that Benedict Cumberbatch? Is he going to be in the film?" It's actually Andy Serkis. Who played Gollum and played a lot of the Planet of the Apes, as Caesar in the Planet of the Apes. We probably shouldn't be surprised because Gollum is evidence that he's an awesome voice actor. But it was definitely something more darker and intense than we've seen from him before. So it remains to be seen exactly what his role is in the film. We know very little about everybody who's in the film and what their roles are going to be, and et cetera, et cetera. So that's cool. I love Andy Serkis, obviously, clearly. So, you know, good for him. Second, got to talk about the broadsaber. The people went apeshit over the lightsaber in the trailer. Like, more apeshit than I've ever seen the internet get about anything, which is saying something. Like, people cared a lot more about that than they care about what's going on in this fucking country right now.
We're Peter Pan Live, Michelle. Wake up!
Because it's the lightsaber, but then you got the two little mini lightsabers extending from the sides to look like a sword hilt, to look like a broadsword.
Have you seen the J.J. Abrams, what do you call it, the lens flare version of that?
Yes, I have. And I've also seen somebody made a George Lucas version of the trailer, which is fucking hilarious. And just a big fat fuck you, George. We're so glad you're out of our life.
So funny.
It's like, anyway. Anyway, with the lightsaber and how crazy people got, like, if you really get that worked up over the unreality of a plasma-based sword weapon in a science fiction universe laced with mysticism, please reevaluate your life priorities.
Life choices.
Basically, the trailer gave us just enough to get us really excited and talking a lot about the film, mostly just based on conjecture, because we still know fuck all about this movie. And
you can't forget the Black Stormtrooper. That was like...
Starting
off,
went
nuts.
The goddamn show, the trailer starts off with a black stormtrooper and immediately cuts to a female bounty hunter, and I'm just like, fucking A! So, pretty.
But the internet blew up over that.
Yeah, the internet kind of detonated. So, in that sense, everybody in the world talked about the trailer and is now super excited. So that's
except the
that's
5 people who are watching Peter Pan Live.
Yeah,
I said I would shut my mouth.
Damn it, Chad.
And I cannot. I'm trying to.
Okay, so but the trailer is successful. We're gonna move on. Michelle, what's going on with things?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I just think this is hilarious and ridiculous. I'm obsessed with drones, and I think they're really cool, and I want to play with one. So there are these.
What are you guys snoring over? What's wrong with you?
I'm not snoring. I was snickering. That was me trying not to laugh.
Play with my drone kind of thing? Okay.
Yeah.
In your trailer.
Wow.
So okay, here's the thing. There's this new, I just read this article as in the Wall Street Journal. Apparently, the FAA has these new regulations that they're proposing for filmmakers using drones. So if you want to use a drone, they're proposing like there's a few that are like fine, like limiting your drone flight to daytime hours. Okay, you have to be 400 feet or lower, sure. But also, get this, they're proposing that filmmakers need to be licensed to fly a manned aircraft. Like, you got to get your pilot's license to fly a drone.
Interesting.
Which means like dozens of hours of training and like for a drone. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
To clarify, you need to be licensed to fly manned aircraft in order to fly these unmanned aircraft. It's a little friggin' ridiculous.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever.
Well, the good news is our main guy, the guy who flies drones for us, is actually a pilot, a licensed pilot. Bruce Birnbaum.
Bruce Birnbaum is a licensed pilot?
That's what he did. That's what he's semi-retired now, but yeah, when he was not retired, that's what he was. It was a pilot.
Bruce is a goddamn ex-secret agent, isn't he? He's ex-CIA. He's MI6.
I'm not going to say he smuggled any drugs, but I'm not saying he didn't. That's all I'm saying.
Birnbaum. Bruce Birnbaum.
Birnbaum.
Shaken, not stirred. That's pretty. That's pretty idiotic. But
go ahead. Sorry, continue.
No, I mean,
No, I was done. I was just saying it's fucking ridiculous. Fuck you, FAA.
Well, Chad, why don't you rein this in? Before you do, I want to remind anybody that is watching live that we strongly encourage you to leave comments on the YouTube video as you watch. We can bring your comments up in the video feed and we will answer them. So, Chad. What do you got?
Yes, thank you. So there have been a series of not to bring a downer on this, but there have been a series of killings of young black men throughout the country recently by police, and the policemen who were responsible have not been getting indicted. This has been spurring a lot of debate and upset and studies, even demonstrations, a lot of demonstrations over the past week and a half, 2 weeks, and no matter, well, actually since Ferguson, so it's been weeks and weeks, but a lot of demonstrations within the past few days since the Eric Garner thing. Anyway, no matter whether or not you think this is generally a problem or not, which for the record it is a problem, but regardless of your opinion on the matter, it cannot be denied that video is one of the biggest reasons that this issue is in the news at all.
Yeah.
Take, for instance, the recent killing of 12-year-old Tamir Rice in Cleveland, Ohio, or of Eric Garner in the Bronx, New York, or of John Crawford in Dayton, Ohio. For each of these killings, police were caught on video clearly stepping outside the regular bounds of what you would consider reasonable policing to put down a perceived threat with lethal force in each of these cases. I mean, Eric Garner's was a little bit more questionable, but anyway, the point is yes, there was a perceived threat in each of these cases, but by and large, that threat existed purely in the minds of the policemen in question, as evidenced by the video. Now, there are many more facets of this particular situation than we'll be able to touch in the little amount of time we have here. But as we did with Twitter and the Arab Spring, if you were watching us back when that was going on, I think it's very important for us on Film Geeks to discuss the video aspect of it, the recent ubiquitousness of cell phone and security video, and how that is contributing to the prevalence of these particular stories finally getting the coverage that they should have probably been getting all along. I mean, that's the one question that I cannot shake, is that have killings like this been happening all along, like for decades and decades, and have police and the prosecutors that they work with every day, which is insanity, that it's those people that they work with every single day who are responsible for prosecuting them. But anyway, have police and prosecutors been sweeping killings like this under the rug for decades?
Yeah.
The nonprofit ProPublica recently published an analysis of a bunch of HBI data, free HBI data that's out there for anybody, that said that black males between the ages of 15 and 19 are 21 times more likely to get shot and killed by police than white males of that same age range. That's 21 times. And what I want to know Has that always been the case? And have policemen been overreacting and killing innocent young black men all over this country for decades and only getting like the merest slap on the wrist by their local prosecutors? Has this been happening and happening? And are we only finding out about it now because video was everywhere? I mean, I don't know if we're ever going to be able to go back and answer that question. But the fact that this is a problem in our country is undeniable. Whatever your opinions are, it's clearly a problem.
Yeah.
21 times is a problem. And what is also undeniable is that because cell phone and security video, the ubiquitousness of it, that trend is only going one direction. If killings by police overreacting continue the way that they seem to be going, this is not going to go away. People are not going to stop getting pissed off until something effective is done about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a virtual certainty that it has existed for a long time. But the amazing thing that video is allowing is we're able to ask questions about it that we've never asked before. Like, for example, I didn't know that it's apparently standard police procedure when there's somebody who who you think may have a weapon to drive within 10 feet of them and emerge from your car. Like, if they have a weapon and you're a cop who's authorized to use deadly force and thinks you might need to use it in a circumstance, doesn't seem smart to pull up right next to the person before you get out of your car, which is what happened with Tamir Rice, which is what even per his own account happened with Darren Wilson and Mike Brown. Like, he said he pulled up right next to him. How is that even remotely a good idea when you're a police officer getting into that situation? So I think
there's so many things wrong with all of it. It's just, it is the one thing that has honestly been like making me feel physically ill often the last couple weeks. I mean, when I heard about the Darren Wilson thing, it's just, if we get back on sort of track, I don't want to get on, because we could just go and go and go on this and talk about all the different awful facets of it.
Yeah, but the point is that we're learning about it.
Yeah, and it's just going to happen more. I mean, if you've seen the video of the it's what's crazy is that I grew up in Hawaii for a lot of my formative years, and it's interesting because in Hawaii people talk about race like it's not a big deal. You know what I mean? You can talk about it. Now, mind you, there is a fair amount of racism against white people there, and it's I was on the butt end of it more than I would like to admit, but it was the case because I went to an all-Hawaiian high school and I don't speak with a pidgin accent, even though I could fake it, but I don't feel like that's me,
Yeah.
But by and large, all the rest of the people, there's such a crazy history of it being an open dialogue at all times.
Yeah.
And I think that it's important for us to have that. This particular situation, whether you want to say that it's you see all these people on the right calling it race baiting and blah blah blah, 21 times.
Yeah.
Guys.
Yeah, and per every single crime statistic that exists, and this has just been researched to death, 21 times more likely to get shot by police, not at all more likely to commit crimes than white people. Like, just not at all. Exact same people, exact same background, same thing, actually less likely to use drugs, about 15 times more likely to be arrested for it, and then with the shooting statistic, it's ridiculous. I think we need to step it up. I'm all for. Clearly it won't solve every case, but I think that cops definitely need to be wearing chest cams, and every single fucking cop car needs a dash cam. We don't have. Every car in Russia has a dash cam. Not every police car. Every fucking car.
But to be honest, that's not going to solve it in the case of especially if the Tamir Rice cops get off entirely.
Yeah.
If the cop who killed that 12-year-old boy in Cleveland, Ohio, gets off.
Yeah.
By the way, there's going to be riots everywhere all over this country.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. If even those guys can't be, Eric Garner's situation obviously is rough. And if you watched Jon Stewart this week and you saw how, he lost it. I've never seen him lose it.
Yeah.
In all the years on TV that I've been watching it, I've never seen him lose control the way that he seemed to in the Eric Garner one. But even in that case, that cop clearly did not mean to kill him.
Right.
He definitely went way beyond where he should have, and they shouldn't be apparently 10 years ago they were talking about how they weren't teaching cops chokehold. Where did this guy learn a chokehold then?
Right.
Why are they doing it if it's been, you know what I mean? Like
the New York, the NYPD banned chokeholds in '93.
Yeah.
Where 21 years later,
Really?
you know. Anyway.
Yeah, but unlike with Michael, I can't remember his name, John
Brown,
Crawford,
Michael Brown.
sorry. Unlike John Crawford and unlike Tamir Rice, the cops were not using. He was not using a gun. The guy who choked Eric Garner was not using a gun.
Yeah.
But there was video, and that's the thing is video is not it. That's not the end all be all. What also absolutely has to happen is the prosecutors who work with these cops every day cannot be the ones also responsible for prosecuting them. It has to be in every single situation where a cop is being convicted of something or indicted, anything. Where they're a suspect, it has to be managed by a completely independent prosecutor. That's the stupidest thing, and it's just anyway. Sorry, I know I'm trying to get through this, but
no, for sure. I just think I think it would be a good first step because it helps mount the overwhelming evidence that like, hey, guess what? There's a fucking problem.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a lot of aspects to it, but we should definitely. We should definitely get on with it.
If you want to talk about this more, if you're watching this, definitely talk about it on our chain. Tweet us about it. I'll be happy to talk about it as time goes on. So.
And I think Chad and I also, I mean, I definitely do. I always pop back into the channel's community section and I answer comments after the fact. So even if you're watching this after the fact, leave a comment. We can chat it up. Let's go on to a lighter note. Marvel news. I'm the Marvel geek, so we're gonna talk about that for a minute, and that will be less soul-crushingly depressing. First up, Benedict Cumberbatch is confirmed for Doctor Strange. It was all but certain before, but now it's 100% certain. Papers are signed, etc., etc. So yay, Benedict Cumberbatch, Doctor Strange, super exciting. Next, the Deadpool movie is officially underway. They're working on production details and a shooting schedule right now, but Ryan Reynolds is officially signed to play the role, which he, of course, played in X-Men Origins Wolverine. And whatever you can say about that movie, you can't blame it on Reynolds. He was awesome. But the biggest news about the Deadpool movie isn't who's going to be in front of the camera, but who's going to be behind the camera. I'm trying not to... Yeah, okay. Good on what we're saying in chat. We'll mention that in a sec. But behind the camera, Kevin Feige is producing the film along with two other producers. And if you listen to the show at all, you know who Kevin Feige is. We talk about him every time Marvel comes up.
You should anyway.
Yeah, this is the guy who made Marvel Studios what it is today. He's the guy who orchestrates the whole deal. And the reason this is huge news is because Fox still owns Deadpool. This means the film is officially a collaboration between Marvel Studios and Fox. Like, both their names are going to be on it. This is the first time this has ever happened in the Marvel Universe, and the first time studios have broken the rights gridlock that plagues X-Men and Spider-Man and so on and so forth. And Deadpool is a great first film for this because it's going to have a lower budget, because we can assume it's going to be an R-rated film. If it's Deadpool, it needs to be rated R, so it's going to have a smaller budget. So if this is successful, we can see we could potentially maybe see more future collaborations, and that could open the door to crossover movies where we can have the Avengers and Spider-Man and X-Men together. We can mix it up a little bit, and who knows what else. So, yay! I'm excited about that at least.
If you haven't seen that Deadpool video, like the test footage video, it is one of the funniest things I've seen online in a while. I can't stop. I mean, obviously, I'm sort of a fan of Deadpool, so I have.
It gives me life. It really does.
It is. I shit you not. I watched it like 7 times in a row because I was laughing when I first saw it. I just watched it over and over and over. It was so funny. It's like what, like 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes?
Yeah,
it's a super quick video, and oh man,
these are the things we cling to when we are sick of how the world is going.
And it's so
So-
perfect that what's his name is playing him too. Just perfect.
Ryan Reynolds, he's the
Perfect
best.
Ryan Reynolds. Oh my
Could-
God.
God. And we're gonna have a Marvel movie that breaks the fourth wall, where he's gonna look at the audience and be like, "I know what's about to happen because I saw that other movie." Like he's gonna talk about the other Marvel movies in a Marvel.
That's hilarious.
Okay, so what we have been discussing in the chat is that we're going to kind of switch up the format of the show at the end of the show because we really got to talk about this Patreon thing, and it's really super huge and interesting and
Patreon.
whatever.
And
So,
exciting.
so I'm going to I'm going to do
Patreon.
my main what?
Patreon.
No, Patreon sounds way better. Patreon sounds so cool.
But it's Patreon.
People I realize
People
that,
who
but
made
it-
it called
From the
Patreon.
root.
but it's also but the guy who
Patron.
made GIFs calls them GIFs. He's still wrong.
Well, because they're called GIFs. The person who makes something gets to name it. Those are the rules. Those are
Well,
the
so
rules.
have
Death
we
of the author
asked,
argument. Death of the author argument.
have we asked the Patreon people?
Says the author. But
Yeah, absolutely. I'm all for the death of the author.
yes, we have asked the owner of Patreon.
So as we roll in towards the end of the year, entertainment media is spinning up their engines with all the usual December fare. We'll get this actually kind of ties in nicely with what we were talking about earlier. So as we roll into the end of the year, we're going to get top 10 lists. We're going to hear about Oscar buzz as we get closer to nominations. We're going to hear about predictions for the industry's future in 2015. And in many ways, 2014's been an okay year for movies. I haven't seen any films that I dub an instant classic, but, there have been some good ones. Some franchises are running strong, other ones are finishing, other ones are just starting up. And I feel like we're all still trying to figure out, the new shape of the industry and everything. And I feel like indies are getting a handle on it. We're not all there yet. I feel like the studios are flailing a little bit, even while they keep making tentpole films that continue to make them hundreds of millions of dollars. But indies are the ones who always keep the finger on the pulse, and we try to do that on this show. And Chad is much, much better at it than I am. That's for damn sure. But going in...
Not a film, though. Honestly, my thing is TV and new media. I don't really know film quite so
That's
much.
the pulse.
To be honest.
That is the pulse. That is the pulse that your finger is on.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm just for the audience, make sure to keep yourselves well informed. This may surprise some of our listeners. We're not the only source for film news. People
What?
can go. I know. Other people can talk about stuff. It's weird. So
No, but they're not as fun.
no, they're definitely not. So keep listening to us, but keep yourself in the know. For those who want to make films, the landscape just is changing. Whatever model you have been using, unless you just started using it and invented it yourself, is probably going to be obsolete. Long term, I think the changes are going to be for the better, especially for us. In the short term, it's going to be uncertain and it's going to be a little scary. So keep your eyes open. Remember that the long-term plan for success has always been and will always be make the best movie you can out of the story that you want to tell. There are other things that we also need to remember when we look back on 2014, things that are really important, and most notably, people. People are the most important thing in the industry, whether it's people who watch the films or people who make the films. We need to remember Sarah Jones. Did you realize? I thought it was longer ago. Sarah Jones passed away just this February. That was in 2014. I thought that was last year. Other good people have passed, not the least of whom Philip Seymour Hoffman, Robin Williams, both awesome, awesome souls in our industry who will be greatly missed. There are way too many others to name in this segment, but we lose people not necessarily, not with the two of them directly related to filmmaking. Sarah, we lost directly related to filmmaking, but it's hard to say that it necessarily would have happened if they weren't, in the industry. I mean, it does have its impact and take its toll on people. And at the end of the day, I think it's really important for everybody to remember, especially filmmakers, that movies, like any art form, are a total luxury item. They are fundamentally less important than many, many things that go on in the world, whether you're talking about the racial situation that's occurring right now, or human rights violations going on around the world all the goddamn time. They're less important than your life, or my life, or anybody's life, or anybody's happiness, although, obviously they can play a part in it. So just let's not forget that what we do and what we love is not worth sacrificing happiness or health or our lives. We get very passionate about films on this show. I end up screaming about Marvel, at least 6 times an episode, and I'm proud of that. And we get very passionate about the actors and the filmmakers and the awards, except for Chad, who doesn't give a shit about award shows. So it's okay to be passionate and
unless
to
somebody gets really drunk there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, then it's just everybody loves that.
What the hell award show is that anyway?
We're the film geeks.
Hollywood.
It's acceptable. It's actually cool to geek out about things now. People don't consider you weird for doing that anymore. But it becomes less cool when you buy into it too much. Like, even when I'm freaking out at my most freaking outingness about Star Wars or Marvel or something like that, it is a show. It's show business. It's not more valuable than what's, truly actually valuable in life. I mean, if you buy into it too much, you can forget how lucky anybody is to scrape a living, however meager that living might be, by playing pretend with cameras. So please, everybody, my call as we get near the end of the year, stay respectful of each other, of the art form we love, and please see its place in the grand scheme of things if you can, and use our art form to make the rest of the world as cool and as fun as inspiring as we find it to be on set and making movies, because that's what we like.
Nice.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
in that spirit, let's talk about how We Make Movies is going to be
way
more fucking awesome.
Wait, I want to comment on what you were just saying.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you can do that. Yeah,
sounds like you're doing the retrospective already. We're not at that episode.
I know, but we're probably going to do one more episode, and then we're going to get into Christmas, and we're not going to feel like getting together on Sunday and everything. So, I just wanted
we'll
to...
talk about it afterwards, but we should definitely do something before New Year's.
Before New Year's,
special.
For sure.
Yes. Yeah. Anyway, we'll talk about it after. Anyway,
Before
moving on to the Patreon thing,
a very special episode.
Before moving on, I'm going to talk. I'm talking. Before getting on to the Patreon thing, I want to go over something that Laird, Max Herger, that's quite a name there. Thank you,
Max
Laird.
Derpish. That's Max Derpish. That's my Max. I love Max.
As one who's not from the U.S., I'm wondering if it's a normal thing that cops use their guns. In Sweden, it's not very common. I imagine it's pretty common when you have, it's guns in the U.S. are just common. It's a big part of living in the United States. It's unfortunate, but it is the case. And there's this whole, I am pro, by the way, citizens having guns, whatever that amendment is. I can't remember the Second Amendment. I'm pro Second Amendment, but I think that it should have limitations. I think that it's like we have these civil libertarians. It's a crazy movement in our country where people think that you need to have freedom. It has to be absolute. No, people should also have the right to be like, whoa, we should be able to regulate what happens in our environment. It's just anyway. Yeah. Yeah. Sadly, guns are big in the U.S. Full stop. Okay, so anyway, unless you guys want to comment on that, I'm going to move on to the Patreon.
I'll just say that, unfortunately, and this is something that was ordered back in, I think, '94 and has never been enacted. Congress ordered the Attorney General to start monitoring how many police killings there are in America. Nobody ever started doing that. We do not know. Nobody collects that data.
Yeah, it's a self-reporting thing, and
we do not know that statistic. Some estimates place it, actually a lot of estimates place it at over 400 per year, which is just orders of magnitude greater than the next country on the list, who, by the way, they all monitor that shit. But whether you take it per capita or straight up numbers, nobody has a police force that kills as many of its citizens as we do. So, yeah, guns are real fucking common. So
anyway, we could go on and on and on. There's 17 things I'd like to say, but we don't have a lot of time. Okay, so anyway, this is the deal. A super quick history of We Make Movies. We Make Movies was started by Tara Samuel, Joe Leonard, and Sam Messman, and they it was back in 2009. I don't know the exact month, but they basically just started having kind of readings. They were just having writers' workshops where you could come and you could bring your script. By the time I joined them, it was happening about once a month on a Wednesday or a Thursday, and it was just the writers' workshops. And Joe, Tara, and Sam had created this really cool environment. Excuse me.
Chad's getting choked up.
I'm getting a little gassy. A little gassy on the air.
Full disclosure, Film Geeks.
I get gassy on the air all the time. It's just silent. You guys have no idea how bad my office smells right now.
There's a mute button.
It snuck up on me. They created something because if you happen to be lucky enough to know all three of these people, they're a really great team, and they all kind of balance each other off in a really nice way. And
well, Tara is.
And so by the time I came around, and which was in 2010 sometime, they already had this really cool thing going with already a really vibrant community. And being the sort of insane organization freak azoid that I am, Sam roped me in to fix the website, which he had built on iWeb at the time. So I've created something in WordPress, and we've been through, that was 3 versions ago. So we've been through multiple versions. And over time, we started to grow. We collated our values, which have been really helpful because they've given us sort of a guiding force, guiding kind of ideology, so that we don't go all over the place. We know where we're going, and we let everybody know where we're going, and that helped. And we, over time, just generated this unbelievable board of, we have the most amazing people who help make this happen. Michelle is one of them. Garrett's not officially on the board, but he's definitely an unofficial board member. There's at least a dozen. There's at least a dozen people who are just awesome, and because of that, and in 2014 we were even able to get a sponsor, and
a crowd that consistently and continually pisses Chad off every time he reads the values.
that too. And I'm really trying not to hate it, but I don't think I ever will. Anyway,
it will always happen.
The sponsor during 2014 allowed us to really expand in a lot of ways. We had the sketch show that was going on a regular basis. We had How We Make Movies. It was happening on a regular basis. We were able to start a new workshop called What's Next that was particularly good for filmmakers, below the line filmmakers, editors, and stuff like that. So expand our community, expand the things that we do. And but then as the year was starting to wind to a close, it was becoming clear that the sponsor was probably not going to renew. And so we had the choice. What are we going to do? Are we going to step back and do less, or are we going to try to expand by becoming self-sufficient? And at the end of the day, that's what we ended up deciding. Like, let's just become self-sufficient so that we can, and let's turn these lemons into lemonade, or these potential lemons. And so what we did, and we launched it we launched it officially just Wednesday night at the meeting. We launched our brand new Patreon campaign. And if you want to see it, you can go to patreon.com, patreon.com/WeMakeMovies. And what Patreon is like a Kickstarter camp. It's like Kickstarter, except instead of a one-time payment, you agree to make a monthly payment. And so we're using it to sort of create a sort of, it's more like it's anybody can still come to our workshops. Anybody can still come and even drink the $2 chuck and have some snacks and stuff.
If you're
anybody
a masochist.
Anybody can come, or listen, bring your own bottle like Lara Jane occasionally does. And
yeah, I shouldn't talk. I usually account for about half a bottle myself.
You can still come and participate, just like you always have been able to. But now, if you really believe in what we do, you can actually give us money to help us sustain. And it's what we've ended up doing is saying that, okay, we'll do X amount of workshops based on us raising this amount of money. And so for first $400, we get 1 workshop a month back. Then once we hit 800, 2 workshops, 1,200, 12, and then 16, we have all 4. By the way, for the record, as of right now, and this is what we launched on Wednesday and it's now Sunday morning, we're at $990, which puts us well beyond the halfway mark. So it's entirely possible for us to hit 1,600 before the end of the month and kick off the new year just like we did, except completely sustaining. Anyway, we'll see what happens with that. But regardless, even if we just start doing just the two weekly, two workshops a month, that's not going to be bad. You know, yes, it's not going to be the same as it was for 2015. Now, the way this all works, there's sort of perks and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, really, what it's all about is: do you want to see us continue? Do you want us to see us continue to do what we do? And this is what. Go ahead. Well,
no, you go. You say it. You say the exciting part. I want to say that. You say it.
What's really cool about it is that once we're actually over that 1,600 mark, then basically 70 cents of every dollar that we make after that point is going to go immediately into a rolling production fund. And so,
Making movies.
And can you explain, just for anybody who's unfamiliar with the concept, exactly what a rolling production fund is?
Well, it's just going to accumulate. Is basically it until portions of it get earmarked for stuff. And the way that that's going to happen is that we're going to hit probably we don't know exactly what that benchmark will be, but probably at like $2,500. We'll say, hey, you guys want to do a short film, or do you want to do maybe a couple sketches, or do you want to hold and see if we can do a pilot? Or hold even longer and see if we can maybe fund a feature. And that's so we're going to put it all out, and every penny of this community funds is going to be decided by the community.
Right.
On the board, just to be completely honest with you, we definitely do have plans to do sort of more curated stuff that will like kind of pluck out of the thing and try to connect investors with and stuff like that. But by and large, that's just going to be, you know, none of that money is going to go into it. None of the community funds will be going to community projects. And I mean, there's so many other things that are going on right now. This Patreon campaign is really only one part of it. The changes that are happening within the organization as a whole are going to make us a lot more. We're going to start live streaming in 2015. So that if you're watching this, if Laird, for instance, if you're actually in Sweden, you can watch this and participate. You could send us a script, we could read it, you could give feedback. That's the whole. I mean, it's not done yet, but that's what we're planning on doing.
That's where we're going.
Greenlighting actual projects, greenlighting series, and then completely on the side, we're going to be trying to generate some income, making commercials, and then making actual movies out of the stuff that you're bringing to our workshop anyway, hooking you guys up with investors and turning it into a whole win-win. So.
And with the community, like the community is funding itself to then produce films that are voted and created. It's like the artistic filmmaking version of the Project for Awesome, and it's fucking amazing. Love it.
I gotta give credit where it's due. This whole thing actually bringing us to Patreon was Garrett's idea, even though he doesn't pronounce it correctly. He's been telling us about this for months and months, and we've been like, yeah, but how would we use it? And finally, he and Sam sat down and figured it out, and that's how we're using it.
And it's about 1,000. Yeah, and so was Audrey.
Yeah.
Aubrey?
I was not, so I don't know who was there. But great.
Yeah. And for the record, the group's just this once, Chad. The group's Patreon. About 1,000 times.
Still not even right.
What is it?
Still not right.
Patreon.
No, see, that I object to. That's fucking stupid.
But it's a patron.
Whatever.
Patreon.
Just got that. It just clicked.
Anyway, the group's Patreon about 1,000 times more successful than my Patreon. So glad I brought the idea. Wish I could make it work for myself.
Oh, but you don't have a 4,000 member community.
That's right. I do not.
That's the
and
thing.
whatever, the group's Patreon might fund your next feature.
I hope it. Yeah. I hope it does.
Word.
Anyways, so that is super, super cool. Where do people go? WeMakeMovies.org/Patreon.
Well, just go to that works too, actually. Yes, if you go to WeMakeMovies.org/Patreon, Patreon, it'll actually redirect you to the Patreon page, which is patreon.com/WeMakeMovies. So it's just reverse it, whatever you want to do.
And we do hope people will go and check that out. Once again, this is the new thing that's really exciting for people who I think that most people who listen to the show on iTunes, for example, are actually not members of the community in Los Angeles. So it's like based on the numbers and the number of people in the community who have told us, hey, I listened to the show on iTunes. Most people are probably, not necessarily in LA, don't necessarily come to the workshops. You can now be a part of the group anyway. You can submit scripts which you will then be able to get feedback on. Like, we will record it, and like you get to participate from afar. We have enabled remote connection.
Well, hold that thought. Don't jump the gun. It's not set up yet. I am doing my damnedest.
Check it out. Check out
Yes, but,
Give me a couple 3 months, because I'm still trying to deal with I'll be honest, I'm still trying to deal with because as every person signs up, I have to connect them. Patreon is not set up to be like, hey, my name is Jim, here's my money, oh, but I want it to benefit Fred and Sam. You know what I mean? Like, they're not set up to do that. I have to do that. It's on a spreadsheet that I'm creating. So I need a little bit of time to get that, and I'm going to see if we can start to get that automated. I'm going to talk to some people so that it's not so insane. But
I met the founder and the head the chief web guy from Patreon at VidCon this year.
I don't think they're going to be the ones to do it. I'm going to have to create it on the side, because it's a much bigger mess than they're going to have to deal with. So, but it'll be fun. Go ahead, Michelle.
But the fact of the matter is, like, here's what it's doing. It's making filmmaking, as far as we're concerned, a global market. I mean, what's exciting about this is that, like, literally as a writer, I can submit a script and it can be read, and there is an innumerable amount of people throughout the world that is going to see the reading of the script, including producers from, Australia, from Japan, like whatever. I mean, if they like the script, like the more this snowballs, the more exposure all of this gets. And the more exposure as actors we get, the more exposure as writers, as directors. I mean, I'm really excited.
Yeah,
so,
as far as I know,
is key.
And we should check this out. And if it's true, we should say it after literally every sentence we speak, just in life in general. As far as I know, we are the first community-funded, community-owned, essentially production company in the world. Like, can anybody think of a comparable example?
No.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
that is the thing. Like, we need to hit
us communists.
We need to.
Wait a minute, I need to write that down.
She meant it as a compliment. She meant it as a compliment.
Who did?
Our lawyer. We have a new lawyer. She's really awesome. Michelle's friend. She's great. But yeah, she called us communists, and it was
a compliment. Wow,
she meant it as a compliment. I mean, what's interesting?
Don't ever tell David that.
Well, this is the interesting thing. The interesting thing is that when you really break down the collaborative economy, collaborative consumption, everything that I've been talking about for months and months, it's basically communist ideals being executed with capitalist tools. That's what's fascinating about it. You're creating communist apps that are actually that then use capitalist idea. It's sort of the best marriage.
That's okay. That's a pretty large oversimplification. But
yep.
Sure.
I'm gonna disagree with that. I'm okay with her calling us that. I don't know if I agree. But anyway,
I don't think it's an oversimplification. I think it's when you're dealing with the waste and you're dealing with waste.
I think this is a topic that's way too big for the end of this segment about how awesome Patreon is.
That is absolutely true.
Let's talk about communism.
Yeah, next week, Michelle, your main topic can be about whether Patreon is communism.
What? Yeah.
We're good. Yeah, Chad.
Yeah, let's move on to.
We're over.
Let me say one quick thing.
Yeah.
If you have any other questions, feel free to email me or email memberships at wemakemovies.org, which is me anyway, but or Chad at wemakemovies.org. Or Michelle at wemakemovies.org, but not really Michelle, because I'm the one who has to deal with all the stuff.
And definitely,
so if you have any questions, don't email anybody else. No, just email me. Email me or memberships at wemakemovies.org, and I will answer any of your questions about Patreon, about the system, about if you want to. And if you don't know any of us personally, if you don't know any of the members of our community, but you have been watching this podcast, maybe there's 3 or 4 of you out there. I have no idea. but if you want to actually give, if you really want to kind of give back, but you don't actually know any people who might benefit, one thing that people have been asking me is, can I just give money and have you guys decide who I'm going to give the membership to, who I will support? And that's totally, we're doing that already. So that is something you can do.
Totally awesome.
Cool.
So I wanted to say one more thing at the end of that. Oh, I don't remember what it is. I had a funny thought yesterday that I would really love. I want to ask the audience a question, and particularly I want to ask the audience a question who listens to us online and has never watched the YouTube, and preferably someone who has never watched the YouTube or my YouTube channel, or I want people who don't know what we look like to come to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/WeMakeMovies, and comment on this video and tell us what you thought we looked like and how it differs from how we actually look like. Because I had that the first podcast I ever listened to. I was like, oh my god, I bet these guys look like this, and then I saw them and they totally didn't. So let's move on to things to know. Michelle, you're up first.
Tonight, we're screening Chad's fabulous short film Tuesday morning, and a feature as well at 3 Clubs, which is in Hollywood on Santa Monica and Vine. And what's cool about this screening series that We Make Movies is doing is it pairs films, like We Make Movies films, with folks that aren't necessarily in the community with a band. So there's live music, there's alcohol, there's fun people, there's film. And apparently what's really interesting about the feature is that I hear that it's going to maybe get some commentary while it's going on or something. So that might be fun and interesting too.
Probably not. I mean, I'm hoping they don't.
Chad is dreading.
I'm really hoping they change their minds. Because I would love to just watch the movie. Because I've never seen it before. It actually looks really interesting. The commentary is the kind of thing you do after somebody's already seen it. Anyway, but do come and watch Tuesday morning, and then you can feel free to walk out if you want. I want to see his movie, and I really hope he plays the damn movie and doesn't do the commentary.
Which actually, incidentally, Tuesday morning was accepted into the Pasadena Film Festival.
Thank you again, Michelle.
I just got my official offer to be to host Red Carpet for the Pasadena Film Festival, which is very exciting. To chat with Nicole Richie and Michael Gross and some people, and Chad.
Ooh, fancy.
I know, like I do.
That's awesome.
That's really cool.
So you
got your thing to know.
Yeah, she kind of scooped my main thing to know, but definitely do come down and see the film, because we do. Yeah, Tuesday. Yeah, it's in. Never mind, it's fine. Definitely do come down Tuesday morning. Tuesday morning, is kind of a labor of love. I begged the writer to let me direct it for months and months and months, and he finally gave in and let me direct it. And it turned out really well. We won Best Short at the Big Island Film Festival this summer. It was the very first festival we ever played, by the way. And we've played about a half dozen other festivals since then. So definitely come out, check it out. If you want to RSVP, go to wemakemovies.org/screening series, and you can RSVP or just show up. Actually, it's there. 3 Clubs right in Hollywood, 123 North Vine, I think. Anyway, go.
Yeah,
also, by the way.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Also, by the way, today is Cinco de Mayo here in Los Angeles, which is basically when they shut down a ton of streets so you can ride your bike. I was trying to arrange my schedule so that I would be free right now, so that I could be riding my bike all through the streets. And unfortunately, I had to do not only Film Geeks, but also another meeting. So I will not be able to.
Nice to know we're an unfortunately.
I know, right?
No, it's.
Hell,
I mean,
Chad.
Cinco de Mayo only happens once a year, and it's awesome. If you've
By the way,
never been
me and
able.
my pronunciations, I saw your things to note, and I was like, oh, what the hell is King Clavia? That sounds cool.
Anyway, so cinclavia.org is where you can go to find out more information, or just honestly just go down to LA. I think it's all up and down Exposition Boulevard. Last year it was Venice, and that was nuts. But check it out if you have time, and then scoot on over to the 3 Clubs and watch Tuesday morning.
Absolutely. My thing to know, you have got to, well, you don't have to, I suppose. This week on the 12th, 5 days from now, the Project for Awesome is happening. I mentioned it before. It is a really, really awesome annual charity thing that is participated in by YouTubers across YouTube. And I'm participating this year. And it would mean a lot to me. I'm trying to raise awareness for my cousin's charity, Empower Tanzania, where they go down and they give clean water, and they give women's health, and they all kind, like, the awesome stuff that is done by this organization cannot be overstated. So I'm making a video for them. I'm trying to get the organization to raise money for them. If you would please do me a favor and go to my channel, and on the 12th I will have a video for the Project for Awesome, and it needs views, it needs votes, it needs comments. So please go check that out. My channel is The Garrett Robinson, 2 R's and 2 T's in Garrett, and check out that video that's going to be happening on the 12th. That would be basically the best thing that has happened to me in 2014, is if I managed to actually make a mark in that contest.
Awesome.
So with that, I'm going to bring an end to this show. Thank you, everybody who watched and listened. Thank you for your live comments, Max and Jared. I'm Garrett Robinson. You can find me at GarrettBRobinson.com. Chad is at SuperFreako.com. And Michelle is on Twitter at MLucadoo. We'll see you next week, everybody. Goodbye.